Greetings, it is I, the creator of Gangstalking, Targeted in America, Just the Facts, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. I hope the listeners, specifically the targeted individuals, gain vast amounts of information about the gangstalking phenomena, and I hope, based on the information and also based on the experience from being a targeted individual, they develop tactics to reduce and nullify the effects of the gangstalking attack. Right now, we are winning. Remember, the gangstalkers and those who sponsor and finance the gangstalking attack, they have more money and more control over the media than we do to some extent. But they are losing, and through their control of the media, they're giving us the illusion as if we're losing. So that's why I created this documentary, Gangstalking, Targeted in America, Just the Facts, Final Strike, because this documentary will be my last entry in the series. Well, this is the final blow to the gangstalking attack. Yes, the information from Gangstalking, Targeted in America, Just the Facts, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3 has gave listeners, specifically targeted individuals, very, very deep information and factual truths about the gangstalking attack. And those who sponsor, execute, and plan the attack, it has made them very, very mad. This information was only supposed to be known by those who perpetrate gangstalking, plan it, and sponsor it. So in this documentary, I'll get down to the deep information and to the gist of the gangstalking attack and phenomena, and also I will explain how they do their tactics on a deep level and what is it for, and also how to develop real solutions that work. And yes, the solutions and information from Gangstalking, Targeted in America, Just the Facts, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3, they do have solutions that do work. But in this documentary, I will recap on the series from Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3 to explain them in a deeper manner, because in this documentary we're getting down to the gist, the deep information, and this information will send a blow to the gangstalking phenomenon. Yes, gangstalking will stop and it will end. But first, and also, here's one rule for listening to Gangstalking, Targeted in America, Just the Facts, Final Strike. I need you to have a sheet of paper and a pen to take down notes, because we're going to develop tactics. Yes, this is a war. This is a covert war waged against you. I need you to have a pen and a sheet of paper to take down notes. And also, the most important rule of all, if you're not gonna make a conscious choice to get up from your get back up on your feet and try to move on with your life or build a better one, then please stop listening to this documentary. If you're not going to make a conscious choice to get back on your feet and live your life or create a better one, then do not listen to this documentary. If you choose to accept the reality that the gangstalkers present to you, even though it's an illusion, and by now some of you targeted individuals realize it's an illusion, but you still accept it, please do not accept their illusion. If you're not going to make a conscious choice to get back on your feet and build your life for the better, then do not listen to this documentary, please. We are warriors in a war we did not willingly ask to participate in. This war came to us whether we like it or not. We are warriors. I don't care what warrior you are. You're a spiritual warrior, a super warrior, whatever you want to call yourself, but we are stronger than we think. Trust me, the gangstalkers know how strong we are. That's why they're doing it specifically to us. So that's the most important rule of all. If you're not going to make the conscious choice to get back up on your feet and build your life, stop listening to this right now. If you choose to get back on your feet or work on your way to get back on your feet and build for the better, then please continue listening to this right now. Your government, Yes, your United States of America government has waged a war against you, a covert war. Now, when I say covert war, a lot of you targeted individuals think, well, if we're going to war, that means I have to have my rifle, they have to have their rifle, they have to have their tanks and planes, and I have to have my tanks and planes. But no, that's a physical overt war. I'm talking about a covert war. Now, the tools of this covert war that your government use are 5 components. One of them is psychological warfare. The other one is economic warfare. The other one is social warfare. And the other one is chemical warfare. And then the other one is surveillance. And then another one is authoritative powers. Now, I'm going to explain each aspect of the covert warfare that your government uses on you. The first one is psychological warfare. Yes, many targeted individuals realize that the backbone of gangstalking is psychological warfare. And psychological warfare, by definition, is to control the attitudes, the beliefs, the mind state of a group or individuals. You just happen to be an individual, or since we're all targeted individuals, we're a dispersed group of individuals, and we all related to each other based on this attack against us by the government. Now, the psychological warfare is meant to confuse you and control your world view, and also present a false reality to you, and then you react on this false reality with real emotions and real thoughts. So basically, you're investing real emotions and real thoughts on an illusion. Yes, the illusion is going on in reality. The events of the illusion are going on in reality through street theater and the perps, but it's an illusion. They're putting on a good show in front of you. And that's the psychological warfare aspect of the government's covert war against you. Now, another aspect of the covert war that the government does against a targeted individual is economic warfare. Yes, depleting your finances. One way to control a person is through money. And a lot of targeted individuals realize that they depleted a lot of money trying to fight off this gang stalking attack. And also, the government is trying to make you lose your job. So, depleting your funds economically, financially, that's the economic warfare aspect of this covert war against you. And now, you also have social warfare. Notice how during this gang stalking attack, your relationships with your friends and your family, and also people who you had the potential to know, all of them have been sabotaged and destabilized. That's courtesy to the social warfare aspect of the gang stalking attack. The gang stalkers, they use slander and defamation to ruin your relationships with your friends and your family. And the ones that could do the most damage is when they try to lie to your family about you. And also they go to your workplace to make lies about you. And another aspect of the covert war is chemical or substance warfare. Yes, a lot of targeted individuals are being covertly drugged with various drugs that cause adverse effects. There are some targeted individuals who ate their food that have been drugged and then realize they get a sharp headache on one side of their head. From experience, I have experienced this. Now, I'm not saying every targeted individual is being covertly drugged with the same drug. No. And for all we know, they could probably covertly drug our food or substances with psychedelic medication that could alter our psychological states, and then we act out on this psychological state based on the covert drugging, but we didn't know that we were covertly drugged. And now we may look like we're crazy, or we don't know why we act crazy, because we could actually be covertly drugged. So as a targeted individual, you have to take that into consideration. They use drugs and chemicals. Also, another aspect of the government's covert war against you is surveillance, monitoring, and tracking. Yes, in order to conduct this covert war against you, the government has to know where you are at all times, so that way they can conduct their psychological attack, their financial economic attack, their social attack, their chemical attack on you. Surveillance, monitoring, and tracking is very important in this covert war against you, because through monitoring you and surveillancing you, they gain information about you, even intimate and secret information about you. And if you saw the movie Enemy of the State, they didn't just use cameras to monitor the character that Will Smith played. They also used like GPS tracking devices, and they planted them on his clothes and everything. Now, that movie came out in 1998. With today's tracking, monitoring, and surveillance, it is more sophisticated. They probably don't even need to put anything on you, because nowadays everybody has a cell phone on them. And back in the days with the regular analog phones that we had in our house, if the CIA or the government wanted to bug them, they had to actually go to the telephone wire or sneak into your house to tap your phones. Nowadays, cell phones are digital, so they don't really have to do that. They could just track you whenever your phone rings, and they could hack into a digital network to do that. So surveillance, monitoring, and tracking is very vital to this covert war that the government has waged against you. And also, another important aspect to the government's covert war against you is utilizing state powers, authoritative powers, and government resources, as well as administrative resources against you. Now, this basically means legal powers and administrative powers. So basically, when the gangstalkers try to get you to act crazy, they could then have you get forced into a psychiatric institute or in jail. And through the administrative process of jail or the psychiatric institution, now they got you documented as a prisoner in the prison system, or they got you in the mental institution, and now they could document you as a criminal or a crazy person legally through their administrative powers. And also, they use government resources. Notice some of the street theater involves police and ambulance. So utilizing their authoritative powers or their government resources, they could also utilize this in this covert war against you, because it's going to usually be when they use the police officers, it's your word against the police officer word, and most likely they're going to take the police officer's word. But if this police officer was involved in the gangstalking attack itself, see, so they could abuse these authoritative powers. And also with the psychiatrist could misdiagnose you or intentionally diagnose you, because some psychiatrists are involved in this program, you see. So they abuse their authoritative powers and their administrative powers, and also their government resources. Like some targeted individuals, they get air stalked by police helicopters, federal helicopters, and military helicopters, all which are government resources, whether it be on state, local, or federal, or military. Now, I just explained to you all the components that the government use in this covert war against targeted individuals in order to attack them. Before we move on, let me recap. Now, the first aspect is psychological warfare and tactics. Now, this is meant to destabilize and confuse the targeted individual, and also put the targeted individual on a psychological leash to control the targeted individual to some extent. The second component is financial and economic warfare. It's very hard to do things in this modern society with money. So the government's trying to control your money by trying to make you lose your job or waste the money financially, dodging this attack. Number 3 is the social warfare aspect, from using the perps in street theater to destabilizing your relationships with your friends, family, co-workers, and potential people you might want to meet, and also trying to isolate you. Number 4 is the chemical and covert drugging attack. Now, this is meant to control you and keep you in a staggered state. Now, the fourth aspect of the attack is the covert drugging and poisoning of the targeted individual. This is to put fear in the targeted individual and also augment the other aspects of the covert warfare that the government has waged against you. Now, the fifth aspect of this covert war is surveillance, tracking, and monitoring. They got to know where you are so they could attack you 24/7. You see how that works? And the sixth aspect of this covert war is the abuse of authoritative powers, the abuse of legal powers, the abuse of government resources, and the abuse of administrative powers. So basically, the government is using, their system, the abuse of the system, to attack you and put it on document, so now it can be legally recognized. So we'll just condense this we'll call it abuse of authoritative powers, because I don't want to say that long word. So now, targeted individual, ask yourself, the government has all these components and tools in their arsenal to attack you. So ask yourself, targeted individual, what do you have in your toolbox or in your arsenal to counterattack this covert war that the government has waged against you? That's why I created this documentary, Gangstalking, Targeted in America, Just the Facts, Final Strike. We are going to develop counterattack methods and also a toolbox of solutions to deliver a final blow to this gangstalking attack. So again, targeted individual, ask yourself, what's in your arsenal? Now, the reason why I explain the movie Enemy of the State is because there's a specific part in the movie Enemy of the State where the guy who works at the NSA found out that the Will Smith character has evidence to prove that he did the crime, and he also gave the speech about credibility. He mentioned that if you want to destroy a person, you go for their credibility, and that's why the same thing is being done to a targeted individual. You're being slandered and defamed covertly, and people are being informed about you. They give lies about you, saying you're this, you're that, you're a rapist, you're a racist, you're a thief, you're a terrorist. So they're basically doing the same thing to you that was done in the movie Enemy of the State. They're going for your credibility, but the only difference is that they also are attacking you psychologically, economically, socially, and drugging you, and also surveillancing you, and also abusing their legal powers to destroy you in this covert war. Now, covert means secret. So this war is going on right now as we speak to many targeted individuals around the world. And the regular everyday people who are not victims of gang stalking do not see it, because this is a covert war. This is not an overt war. This is not like the Iraqi war where we could see it on CNN. We could see footage of them dropping down planes. No, this is a covert war. So basically, in some way, this gang stalking attack is a black operation against U.S. citizens. Yes, by your United States government. Not by some foreign nation or some terrorist group. By your United States government and its agencies. Now, the reason why this covert war is being waged on a targeted individual is for many reasons. But here's the thing I want a lot of targeted individuals to take into consideration. Think about it. Your government is intentionally going out their way to intentionally sabotage you in a slow, methodical, and systematic way in order to make it look organic, as if you're the one who messed up in your life. That's why they attack you so slow and systematically and covertly, because it will, to others who are not being gang stalked, it will look like you just naturally and organically, psychologically broke down, or you messed up your own life. But that is not true. And the fact that they have to intentionally go out their way to sabotage you, key word, remember, they're paying people, they're using government resources to go out their way to destabilize you and sabotage you. So that means naturally, you're not the type of person to mess up in life. And say if you weren't being attacked by gang stalking, and say if you naturally messed up on your own, you're the type of person who will get back up and build better. You would actually gain tenfold. So you're the type of person, if you had $1 and you messed up, if you got back on your feet, you probably have $1 million, because you're the type of person to get back up naturally. But with this gang stalking attack, it's an artificial sabotage. So basically, it's an external sabotage from external sources, from your government, sabotaging your life, and it's an artificial, so it's not coming from you. In the early stages, a targeted individual may think that at first it's probably something I did, or they probably think, hey, it's probably something I did. So now they might actually change their behavior and attitude, thinking that it's coming from them, but the reality is it's coming from the government. And in some way, that's how they could modify your behavior, by tricking you into thinking that you did something. So now you change your behavior and your attitude. But the reality is that you did not have to do that, because it's coming from the government, this covert sabotage. And the thing that makes you notice the sabotage is that you start to notice the patterns. And that's when you realize your government is trying to sabotage and covert you, and trying to sabotage you and destabilize you. But at first, you did not point it to the government. At first, they trick you to make you think that it's coming from your neighbor, your family, or somebody else who really had nothing to do with it. But the reality is that's not true. It's coming from the government. They're just using that script to make you think that it's coming from these people. You see how that works? So that basically means you're the type of person that you get back up on your feet. You do not stop moving. And those are the type of people the government hates. People who build their own, who create their own. A lot of targeted individuals, they built their own and they created their own. That's why I speak to you targeted individuals. Please get back up on your feet. That's your nature. That's your natural nature. That's why, and the government knows that, and that's why they have to go out their way to keep their knee on your neck 24/7, because they knew if they took their knee off your neck, you would pounce back up and succeed and get back on your feet and acquire tenfold. They know this. Even you know this. But they're trying to trick you with psychological warfare to make you forget this. They're trying to make you accept this illusion they present to you in front of your face as truth, but it's not. Please, targeted individuals, this is not truth. Their illusion is not truth. Get back up on your feet and move on with your life. Please. And they know that's why they have to artificially sabotage your life. None of this is coming from you. But if you react to it in a wrong way, you might help them, and that's what they want. They want you to lash out and act crazy so you can help them with their artificial sabotage and destabilization of your life. We're going to develop counterattacks and methods. Hold on, let me explain something deeper first. I want targeted individuals to realize that do not let this gang stalking attack define you. Again, I'm going to repeat. Do not let this gang stalking attack define you. Yes, I want you to accept the fact that this gang stalking attack is happening to you, but you are not the gang stalking attack. Do not let the gang stalking attack define you. Please, there's more to you than this gang stalking attack. That's why I'm telling you, get back up on your feet. And again, I'm going to repeat this. If you're not going to make a conscious choice to get back up on your feet and move on, or make an effort to get back up on your feet and move on, please turn this video off right now. Do not let this attack define you, or do not let this attack define your reality. Yes, these illusionary deception that these gang stalkers use in front of you, it's going on right now in reality, but that's not the reality. That's why they got to know where you are, so they could be ready to set up the street theater around you to make you think that this is your reality. Remember, do not let this gang stalking attack define you. You are very powerful. Trust me. Even if you don't know it, you're very powerful. You just don't know it. Also, with targeted individuals, I want you to take this into consideration. Some of you targeted individuals have been gang stalked for so long that now you're able to predict when the gang stalking attack is about to come, or you could actually spot a perpetrator of the gang stalking attack in the crowd even before that perpetrator does his foolishness or street theater. Now, a lot of targeted individuals, they've been gang stalked for over 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, or even more than 10 years. By now, you should be able to point out perps in the crowd, or even see their street theater attack coming. Like, for example, you could see you could actually see a perp, and you can actually predict, okay, this perp is going to walk over there, and then perp B is going to do that. And after you say that in your mind, guess what that perp does? Exactly what you said. So for those targeted individuals who've been targeted for so long, by now you should be able to predict the gang stalking attack and see when it comes. And you could actually point out the perps. You could actually, and because the perps, by now you see their body language, their mannerisms, how they act. So I mean, the gang stalking attack, to some extent, it shouldn't surprise you. And also, the reason why this covert war is being conducted on you, well, there are many reasons, but when it boils down to it, the theory could actually be human experimentation. To me, that's what it really boils down to. Because if you were a terrorist or criminal, how come Omar Mateen, who did the Orlando shooting, the FBI contacted him 2 times? So how come he wasn't put in this quote-unquote gang stalking program? I explained that in the Gang Stalking Targeted in America, Just the Facts, I think part 1, part 2, or part 3. I explained that. But yet, no FBI, no CIA or whoever government agency knocked on your door. Nobody came with a warrant to say, okay, you did this and that. So I don't think it has nothing to do with fighting terrorism. But they could use the guise of terrorism to track and follow you. And then the information from constantly following you and harass you could be relayed to the government or the military, and for human experimentation. I'm not saying that the sole purpose of this gang stalking attack is for human experimentation, but what does it boil down to when you think about it? And also, what it also boils down to is these government agencies making money off the fear of terrorism. I mean, think about it. A lot of intelligence work of the United States government has been outsourced to private contractors and military contractors. And also, think about it. If they're following you and they're tracking you and harassing you all day long, it's going to cost money. I mean, who's giving these people who harass you through vehicle, who's paying for their gas? You see how that works? So think about it. Say if they take you off the list. Say, for example, I'm not saying this is how much it costs to gang stalk you, but say, for example, it costs $10,000 a month to gang stalk you. So if they take you off the list, whoever's been contracted, whether it be private or government agency, who've been contracted to gang stalk you, if they take you off the list, that means they lose $10,000. So why would they want to take you off the list? That means they would lose money. So my theory is they're trying to put as much people on this list so they can get money to gang stalk you. So more people added on the list, more money they get to gang stalk and follow and harass people over the fear of terrorism. So you're the cash cow at the same time, or you could be the guinea pig for information they're trying to look up to see how they could control human beings more, or they're using the fear of terrorism and they're making a lot of money off of it, especially these private government contractors, because there's companies like Booz Hamilton, Infraguard, they do some of the dirty work for the government that the legal government agencies can't do, and they're not trying to lose money. So taking you off their list would actually mean they lose money. So I just want you targeted individuals to think about that. That's what it boils down to. And also, here's a quick note, targeted individuals. I want you to stay motivated. Move with courage. I know some of y'all, y'all exhausted from this gang stalking attack. But please, be strong. Be strong. Trust me, you're strong. That's why they have to attack you with so much people. Think about it. Sometimes they even use 10 people for just one of you. What does that say about you? 10 people have to gang stalk you. One little you. You're very powerful. You just don't know it.